Welcome into HQ Spotlight here on CBS Sports Network. We got a full house to start the show. We've got Pete Prisco. We've got Kyle Long. I'm Jordan Giorgio. We were going to begin with the Bengals pass rush and some news on that front, but that gets pushed to the side because the biggest transaction of the entire NFL in the past week, really, is this one. Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce, engaged, lifetime contract. Pete, I mean, you were kind of not here for this, but you have a lot to say about this.
Well, I mean, I looked at the ring, and she probably said, "Oh, honey, it's the thought that counts."
Yeah. You would have done so more.
I mean, that's a big ring. Look, it's a great story because nobody believed it.
Yes.
No, everybody thought it was just for show and theater, and they actually have found each other and they're getting married. I mean, it's a great story. I don't understand why so many people care about it, but it is a great story.
Fairy tales do exist.
They do exist,
and
true love.
I know it was true last year when I first started working with Pete Prisco.
Oh,
and now to
that's
see
cute.
Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, here's what I think.
Okay.
I think Travis Kelce should come out with the Travis Swift jersey this year and just blow everybody else's jerseys out of the water in terms of sales.
You think he's going to take her last name?
I think for a jersey
for the
marketing
plot.
strategy.
For the plot.
For the plot.
I love that. Okay, so but just before we move on, I want to get your take because that was your first time actually seeing the engagement. You didn't see before.
It was
what
beautiful.
would you rate it?
I would rate it awesome and human and real. It looks real to me. And it seems as if Taylor Swift from a very young age, and obviously I've been a fan of Taylor Swift since I was in middle school, junior high, high school, and all through now. I'm 36. My daughters listen to Taylor Swift.
How cool.
There's probably not been many opportunities for her to feel like a real person, a real girl.
Right.
And credit to Travis Kelce for being that knight in shining armor, red shining armor, to come and sweep her off her feet. And it just seems like she's experiencing things for the first time, maybe, and it's really cool.
One quick thing.
Yeah?
From an NFL locker room, if you put her name on the back of his jersey, that wouldn't play very well.
That would be interesting.
I'd say I'm going to split up the revenue.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
Then it would play very well.
There you go. All right, we get to the second biggest story, really, of the day, I guess. Trey Hendrickson, the saga is now over. For now, at least. The star pass rusher reached an agreement to raise his salary this season to $30 million, which is a $14 million raise. He's still set to become an unrestricted free agent at the end of this season. Hendrickson led the league with 17.5 sacks. He was the fifth player in NFL history with back-to-back 17-sack seasons. And with this new deal, Trey Hendrickson now joins some elite company, as you see here. In terms of the highest-paid pass rushers in the league, there's Hendrickson at $30 million annually. This deal obviously huge for a Bengals defense that needs Hendrickson to really be successful, but there are still kind of question marks there. So obviously we know what this offense looks like, but what does this defense look like? What is your biggest question mark heading into the season for the Bengals?
Well, I think it's run defense. And they gave up 4.5 per rush last year, which, was middle of the pack, but they need to be better. And everybody always talks about, well, how do you get your defense better? If you stop the run and put teams in third and long situations, you're going to have a better defense. You have Hendrickson. You drafted Stewart, the rookie from Texas A&M, who's had a good training camp since he came in. Now you can get after the quarterback if you stop the run. If you don't stop the run, it neutralizes that altogether. The other part of the equation is Al Golden's taken over as defensive coordinator. They're going to play a lot more man-to-man. Al Golden loves to play man-to-man. He'll also blitz more. So I think if you can stop the run and turn that loose, I think they'll be better on defense.
Yeah, his point on Al Golden is important. I mean, look, Lou Anarumo, who was the former defensive coordinator in Cincinnati, had a great deal of success. The roster just doesn't look the same in large part, and on the back end, you got to switch some stuff up. So the man-to-man looks and allowing your guy Trey Hendrickson to get home. Look, at the beginning of this offseason, they had a job to do. Get Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Trey Hendrickson signed. They've got all these things in place. Now they got to go put rubber to road and make some wins happen.
Yeah.
By the way, they all show up. They all play. Hendrickson.
We called it.
Terry McLaurin.
You did.
Micah Parsons will be there soon
Show
enough.
the
They all
receipt,
show up and
Pete.
play. I mean, here's the other thing about that contract real quick.
Yeah.
It's a one-year deal. He got a big raise,
Right.
but now they can tag him next year.
Great
So
point.
they have the control of him next year as well.
Great point, and they're going to need him for sure, as you mentioned. Meanwhile, their AFC North rival, the Baltimore Ravens, are still looking for an answer at edge rusher, Pete.
Yeah, you look at the group, and they do a great job of manufacturing pass rush, but they don't have that guy. And I think sometimes in key moments, you need that guy. And so Van Noy and that group, they all do a nice job, but I don't think they have the guy that you come to the line of scrimmage and go, it's him. And so that ultimately, I think, could be something that's a difference maker for them. They gave up a lot of big plays last year in the passing game.
They did, though, add some firepower in the draft this year.
Yeah.
That defense got
Mike Green.
That defense
Mike Green.
got better.
You know, Mike Green's had a good training camp,
Yeah.
so it'll be interesting to see if maybe he can become that guy.
I'll say this about Kyle Van Noy.
Right.
He's one of those guys that maybe you don't have circled with highlighter before the game, but by the second quarter, you're coming to that sideline saying, we better come up with an answer for 53 because he is all over the field. I give him credit, a veteran that a lot of those young players can lean on. Look, Ravens are in a really good spot. If their guy Jair Alexander can stay healthy throughout the course of this season, the back end is as good as anybody in the National Football League. This Ravens team is poised to make another run at it. And oh yeah, the other side of the ball for the Ravens, they're just going to strangle you with the run game for 4 quarters. They're going to be fresh on defense.
The pressure for a Super Bowl appearance has never been higher in Baltimore. We'll wait and see what happens there. Let's pivot here to the Steelers. Obviously, new quarterback Aaron Rodgers comes in, now leading this team. I know, Kyle, there's a ton of question marks of what we'll see from him, but what's the biggest one in your opinion?
Well, I have to go back to last year and say, hey, look, he was recovering from an injury, and I, of all people who has recovered from injuries, has to understand that it takes more than 12 months sometimes to feel fully like yourself. Okay, we've passed that mark. Aaron Rodgers now in his new home in Pittsburgh. Here's the thing about Aaron Rodgers. He takes cartoon character hits. I've never seen a guy get hit like Aaron Rodgers. His helmet is on backwards on the ground. He's got turf in his mouth. He has to avoid those hits. If he can avoid those hits, I fully anticipate this Steelers offense being dangerous the entirety of the season and Aaron looking more like what we remembered from yesteryear.
And he did play well at the end of last season. He did a lot of really good things. I mean, he threw more touchdown passes than Patrick Mahomes did last year, so he has that going for him. But my key for the Steelers is, a key for him to avoid those hits, is run the ball. The Steelers' identity has always been to play good defense and run the football. They did not run the ball very well last year. And now there are questions about who's going to be the lead running back. I mean, you know, Warren, is he capable of doing it? Johnson, the rookie from Iowa, looked good the last preseason game. Somebody has to emerge as a guy who can move the chains and keep that pressure off Aaron Rodgers, because if you can't run the ball, you're going to have problems protecting them.
Most definitely. Lastly, here in Cleveland, obviously, the talk of the town all offseason was this crowded quarterback room. Now, one less body as Kenny Pickett is headed to Vegas. What's the biggest question mark, though, for the Browns, from your opinion?
Well, I feel like you're not going to have your questions answered until the rubber meets the road. And I'm talking about if something were to happen to Joe Flacco. I mean, that's an elder statesman in the room. You can take a look at that picture. And Dylan Gabriel looked like he played on time and in rhythm with this offense. And Pete, you can back that up. He looked like a guy who could distribute the football, play the point guard that Kevin Stefanski wants in this offense. And obviously, Shedeur Sanders flashed as well in his first opportunity in the preseason. I walked away really impressed with him. But for whatever reason, we saw a regression in his second outing after the oblique injury. I don't know if it's a physical thing. Maybe he wasn't feeling 100%, but look, Stefanski's got his work cut out for him, and we're not going to know about Dylan or Shedeur until the regular season happens and those bullets are real.
And they start seeing all kinds of coverages and different looks and stuff because it's so vanilla in the preseason. For me, it's Flacco. How will he hold up? I mean, that's the key. He's not a kid anymore. I think he's a couple years younger than me, as a matter of fact, which is pretty damn old. So I think it's a matter of if he can hold up and stay healthy. If he stays healthy, then I think he plays as long as they're in being competitive in the division. If he gets banged up, then obviously you go to Dylan Gabriel and you find out what he is. If they get knocked out of any contention, which is probably likely because they're not a very good team right now, then I think you go to Gabriel. If Gabriel shows something, okay. If he doesn't, then maybe you put Sanders in. And if neither one of them shows anything, here's the good news, Cleveland. You have 2 first-round picks next year, and it's a loaded quarterback draft. So they're going to have a chance to get their guy next year.
It is interesting with Kenny Pickett's departure to Vegas. Just yesterday, I was complaining a little bit, talking about Sanders, and if his name wasn't Sanders, would we be talking about what the Browns are going to do with their 5th-round pick? But all of a sudden, it becomes an interesting kind of conversation here. All right, you guys stay put because we have much more on the other side. That is a wrap for our biggest questions for the teams in the AFC North as we get closer and closer to the start of the season. Hopefully, we get some answers soon, and it all begins Week 1. Here are a look at the games. The Steelers enter as 3-point favorites heading to New York to take on the Jets. That game will be on CBS September the 7th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll get to see the Bengals and Browns go head-to-head, followed by the Ravens and Bills. Nightcap, 8:20 p.m. Eastern Time.